Well, hello again this morning. This morning I'm going to give you a lot of bull. Well, not really. I got a little bull sign we're going to make. I call it the Roundup sign. It's probably for Western fans. Don't know if everybody's going to be interested in this. But I thought we'd play around with this a little bit and make a nice little stand-up sign. And it's going to be a layered type of sign. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut out the head, and then we're going to cut out the horns, and then we're going to cut out the body, and then we'll glue the head back onto a full-scale body, and then we'll glue the horns onto the head as such. So it'll look like a little bit of three-dimensional spirit here. Now, if you like this pattern, if you like the little project doing here, you can get the pattern down below. It's free on my website. And the other thing we're going to do is put this little Roundup sign right on the front. Okay, the way we're going to do this is we're going to use some of this scrap birch ply here. Got a piece I can use for the lettering probably. Another piece for the head and the horns. And this bigger piece we can use for the body. That'll get us started on this. So we're going to tape this wood up and cut out the patterns, glue them down, and then we'll take them over to the scroll saw and do some cutting. Well, I drilled out all the entry holes I needed for all the patterns, and I've taken the patterns and first of all on the plywood I put some green painter's tape. And then I just used a glue stick on the back of the patterns, patted them down, and then of course I drilled the holes for the entry blade. So that's going to be the head and the horns. And I also did the sign that I'm going to put at the bottom toward the front. And again with the tape on the back, the pattern glued right to it. And then, of course, the bull. Well, we won't have to cut the head out on here because we have got the head out of the oven. What we're going to do is follow those little dotted lines to where we want to cut it out so that the body doesn't include the head and the horns at this point. This eventually will all be glued down to a nice base also. And it'll look rather dynamic, I think, when it's all finished. So what we're going to do now is go over to the scroll saw and start our cutting. I'll do a little bit of it. I'm not going to bore you with the whole thing, but get you started on it anyways. I've got a 5-inch number 5 reverse tooth blade in here, and we'll cut at about half speed probably. Take this out and come up with a nice little sign. I found this piece of cherry scrap wood that I had laying around here. Got a little damage, so what I'm gonna do is rough it up a little bit. I'm gonna use this for the base, and I'll do that on the sander here. We'll take off some of the scruffy parts of the wood and make it really marked up as though it's been weathered for a while. So let's do that on here. Now, while we do want our base to look a little bit rustic, I'm going to smooth it out a little bit here and there. What we're doing is running this over the sanding mop. I'm going to do it a little bit more off camera here because I only got one hand to work with, and that should come out looking pretty good. Also going to sand over all the parts of the sign itself. A few fuzzies here and there on the back, even though I use a reverse tooth blade. But I think we'll just run that over here very carefully. Do this with the bull parts also, and it'll take all those fuzzy edges off. Okay, I've got all the pieces cut out now, and I've got them all sanded down. I use the sanding mop on the horns here too, round it over the edges nicely, so it looks pretty good. And the first thing we're going to do is put the Roundup on the bottom. I'm going to glue that to the bottom of the bull, and then we're going to glue down the head at some kind of an angle. Looks like he's about to attack. And then, of course, for the third layer will be the horns themselves. And then I'll eventually mount this whole thing on the base. So I'm going to put the glue on now and stick these all together, and I'll come back when I got them all assembled. I got the Roundup glued down now. Somebody asked me what kind of glue I use. Well, I use French's yellow. No, this isn't the glue. I just use their bottle, but I put the Tight Bond glue in here. It makes for a nice dispenser. So you might want to try doing that if you've been trying to work out of the regular bottle and it gets clogged up. This works out pretty good. Alright, pieces are nicely glued together, and I put my spring clamps on them. Leave them there for about an hour or so, and that ought to pretty well seal the glue. And then we'll put this down on the base at that time. Okay, I've got the sign clamped down to the base now. All the other parts have dried nicely on it. And I think what we're going to do next, let this dry, and then we're going to give it a coat of clear spray. I think that'll darken it all up a little bit. Certainly the base, because the cherry will come out nicely in it. But I think it came out pretty good. I'll put up a picture, show what it looks like when it's all finished. And I hope you enjoyed this little project, and try making one for yourself. You can even make other things from it too. You could reduce the size of the bull if you want and make him stand up by himself. Get rid of the Roundup, put a different kind of base on it. Feel free to experiment with it and send me a picture of it if you do something a little bit different. If you want the pattern, remember it's down below. You can click on that, or you can send me an email at abagetta@comcast.net, and I'll be glad to send it to you, just in case the link is broken for some reason. Be sure to click the like button down below if you did like this, and subscribe to my channel. Who knows what else I'll come up with later on down the road. Good to hear from you. Good to see you again. Thank you for watching.